Pfizer's in pretty huge trouble right now as Texas Attorney General is saying that the C-19 vaccines that were handed to the American people were defective. He even went as far as to file a lawsuit against the big pharma company with Pfizer, saying that their highest priority is the safety and the efficacy of their vaccines. And, well, do you guys agree with them, especially with everything else that's been coming out regarding these drugs?
Today, the Texas Attorney General's office claims COVID vaccine maker Pfizer misrepresented how effective the vaccine is.
Yeah, they filed a lawsuit that could result in more than $10 million in fines. In a statement, Pfizer said its vaccine has been accurate and science-based, calling State Attorney General Ken Paxton's lawsuit, quote, meritless. Paxton says the lawsuit is based on 2 months of clinical trial data. Those numbers, he says, indicate the vaccine was 0.85% effective. Pfizer still maintains the vaccine was 95% effective.
Now, before we get any further into this thing, I just want to kind of gauge you guys' reaction, all right? Do you think, and I just want you guys to be objective, okay? Do you think that Pfizer may have lied about the efficacy of their C-19 vaccines? Now, again, please be objective here and answer as you will with results that you've seen for yourself or with others. Comment a quick yes or no down below just to answer that. And as you guys are deciding on this question, don't forget to drop a like for the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate you guys. All right, so getting back here, Attorney General Kenneth Paxton, he says that Pfizer violated the Texas Deceptive Trade Practices Act by lying about the C-19 vaccines as they promoted it to the public. Paxton says that this is to provide justice for the people of Texas, especially for those who had to take the alleged defective product from the pharma company. This is not new though. Paxton has been investigating Big Pharma for some time now. This includes Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and of course Pfizer, for what he says are potential misrepresentations about vaccine efficacy and even possible manipulations of vaccine trial data. Now, if you guys remember, Pfizer said that their jabs were like 95% effective, and this is what, December 2020? Yeah, that's what they said back in December 2020, very early into the health crisis. And what was said back then regarding these pharma companies?
The U.S. began vaccinating the population against the coronavirus in December of 2020. The goal is to get the COVID vaccine to every person in the U.S. who wants one, but survey data shows that nearly 40% of the U.S. population doesn't want it. Widespread mistrust might have something to do with the fact that if anything goes wrong with the vaccine, the drug makers that produce them aren't responsible.
This is a remarkable circumstance. It's certainly not like anything anybody's ever seen before.
That means that companies like Pfizer and Moderna have total immunity against lawsuits related to injuries resulting from taking the COVID vaccines. Meanwhile, employers are legally allowed to require employees to get immunized against the virus.
Requiring a vaccine is a health and safety work rule, and employers can do that.
But this lawsuit from Texas doesn't talk about injuries that people have sustained. It focused on the alleged lies that Pfizer has cooked up for their jabs. In fact, this was very clear when a Pfizer executive was pretty much grilled about how they talked about these drugs stopping. Again, that's the terminology that Pfizer was using, that these drugs could stop transmissions. But here in the modern times of 2023, and well, we all know that was a lie.
Was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping immunization before it's entered the market? No, we had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market. And from that point of view, we had to do everything at risk.
It's funny how much they're willing to risk the lives of people once they know that they won't be liable for any injuries the masses may sustain. And you know what? I still can't get over the fact that this lady just up and laughed at that question. Like, is that how they would respond if they were told of all these adverse effects that popped up regarding these jabs since that time? Now, I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, all right? Because I've done videos proving that some people were affected negatively by some of these jabs. And this is in no way a message to tell you what to do with your lives, especially your bodies. It's based on facts and data. However, and this is something that's come out fairly recently, it looks like less and less people want to talk about getting a C-19 jab. In fact, Just this September, only 3% of eligible Americans in the country got an updated booster. And heck, this is even with the CDC suggesting that everybody, and I mean everybody, according to them, should get an updated booster. Their reasoning is very simple. It's almost winter time, and this is the time when a lot of people become sick, obviously due to the cold weather and hanging out more indoors with other people, increasing the chances of getting sick as well.
You may have noticed cases of COVID are ticking up again. NBC News has learned that new vaccine booster shots could be available next week after CDC approval, even as many have put COVID in the rearview mirror. Here's Tom Costello.
The American seniors are in Ireland to soak in Irish music. They got the music, but 6 out of 20 also got COVID.
I didn't want to spend my whole vacation wearing a mask in Ireland. You can't sing along with a band with a mask on.
Frances Foster's third bout with COVID is milder, but she's isolating in a Dublin hotel room.
I had a bad day yesterday. Today I seem better.
New cases are popping up around the world and across the U.S., including First Lady Dr. Jill Biden. President Biden criticized for removing his mask while awarding the Medal of Honor to an 81-year-old veteran. After 150,000 hospitalizations in January, that dropped to 6,300 in June. The CDC reports hospitalizations are rising again, more than 17,000 as of August 26th, far below pandemic levels, but a reminder, say experts, COVID may be here to stay.
The sickest COVID patients are certainly older, immunocompromised. They have primary pulmonary disease like emphysema, and the unvaccinated.
But the country remains divided over masks and vaccines. The FDA now expected to approve updated COVID boosters as soon as Friday, available as soon as midweek. Moderna and Pfizer say their new vaccines appear effective against the new BA.2.86 variant, which has appeared in Michigan, New York, Ohio, and Virginia. Meanwhile, health agencies report an uptick in the RSV virus, common in children, especially now in Florida and Georgia. The FDA recently approved a new RSV vaccine for small children and expectant mothers.
Now, the CDC is also citing shocking numbers where emergency hospital visits are rising across the country, with hospital admissions rising by more than 8.6% recently. It also doesn't help that we're hearing this mysterious virus, this mystery virus, that's supposedly coming out of China. But I guess many Americans are at a point where many of us, how do I put this gently? Many of us just plain don't care anymore. Is that gentle enough? All of this, though, has affected big pharma companies in a big way. I mean, just look at this. The full year revenue outlook for Pfizer was initially at around $67 to $70 billion. But with demand for C-19 products as it is, they slashed it down to $58 to $61 billion. Moderna is another one wherein in Q3 of 2022, they reported revenues of $3.4 billion. In 2023, that number is just $1.8 billion. And of course, we can't forget about Novavax, who made $735 million in Q3 of 2022 compared to the $187 million in 2023 for the exact same period. You see how this trend is going, right? The distrust and disdain from people across the globe is growing. And it's going to be hard for these companies to convince us otherwise. But what do you guys think? Did any of these companies lie to our faces just to make millions upon billions of dollars? Or were they just kind of doing what they thought would bring the world back to what it once was before this entire virus hit us like a ton of bricks? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. And before I go, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for keeping an open mind. Keep safe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.